I went to a school called Cretan Military Academy. I rather thrived on a military life while I was there. And after I was 18, the war, of course, was going on, World War II. So I ended up volunteering for paratroopers. Well, my mother cried when I told my dad and mom what we were going to do. You know, in combat, you jump. So I told her we'd jump out of airplanes. My mother broke down and cried. We trained here out of Fort Bragg and did maneuvers in Tennessee. The Battle of the Bulge broke out. I remember the route we had taken through France and up through Belgium, and that was our first commitment in combat. After World War II, I went to St. Thomas College, the Catholic college in St. Paul. I had a lot of friends there after the service. If you had 2 years of combat service, you could sit in the last 2 years and become an officer, second lieutenant. In Korea, we had German Shepherds, canines. And they were our eyes and ears because the enemy, and the Koreans, you know, they have a lot of spices in their food. And their clothing, you could almost pick it up. And the dogs would really save our lives. I had 2 tours over there, by the way. My first tour, I was advising a Vietnamese, we call it ARVN, infantry regiment. And below me, I had young captains. They had 3 or 4 battalions. So we have captains and lieutenants. The big thing is in terrain. You're in jungle, you could be in open terrain, swamps, jungle warfare. It was altogether different than I had my experience in Korea and in Europe. I went back the second time. I got bored. And that's when I went to the 3rd Infantry Division. And that primed me because I knew the terrain, I knew the whole scope, weaponry, and so forth. I was told by my division commander named General Talbot, "You're the oldest battalion commander in Vietnam, including Marines and Navy." At that time, I was 47, 48. Battalion commanders at that time were 35, 36, 37. And of course, I had a little lead on them because of War II, and I'd already been in Vietnam. And I didn't have a straight infantry battalion. I had what they call a mechanized battalion. And a mechanized battalion were, all they are, they're still infantry, but we had what we call personnel carriers. You carry about 10 or 12 people to a personnel carrier. And it gave you protection from small arms fire and shrapnel and so forth. And then later on, I was given to the 1st Air Cab, had an airlift operation type. They gave me helicopters to lift troops. I had 2 tours over there, by the way. My first tour, I was advising a